How did you first become involved in permaculture, and how did you develop the project that you run now?
So I never believed God from my childhood. So that I think it's in every activity I'm little different from the normal society and people.
Okay.
So that is how that led to me even my education. When I was in my education time also, just I was a little lot of politics are there. Even in my student movement I was in a very different thinking and alternative thinking, and so
What was it you studied at university?
I was studied at Usmania University, is one of the renowned university in India itself. It's a good big university. I did my philosophy,
Philosophy.
yeah,
Right.
master in arts, and I did my philosophy. Then I did my barrister as a law.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. Right.
So then
Okay.
I got into the permaculture movement. It was in my it was in '86. There was a conference was going on in India. It's '85. Then I was on campus, university. There was things were going on the campus. There was a lot of people I could see, some white and black and all sorts of people. Then I asked one of the participants, what is going on the campus? What is going on the university? They said it is some conference, some about the permaculture. So what is this permaculture? I didn't know exactly what is the permaculture talks about and says about. But we are in a university, different environment, and something is going on the campus. A lot of events will take place on universities like in India, in most of the seminars and workshops. I thought it is also one of such event, I thought. But it was long, almost 10 days, 15 days long workshop is going on. Then I happened to go that side. I have found some people. Among those people, I found Dr. Venkat. He's the person who I am seeing first time. I
He was
met him.
also in the film with Phil Morrison.
Exactly, the global gardener.
Global Gardener.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I happened to meet luckily that person, but at the time I am not very sure what a lot of aware of what is happening, what is a permaculture.
Right.
But in the same place I met, then I saw Bill Mollison and Robin Francis
Yep.
and these people I met there.
David Holmgren.
Yeah, David Holgram as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
So then it's sort of some workshop. I didn't know about much agriculture, but that's I met some people. Just I as I volunteered something to go meet people and what's happening and knowing each other, and some Indian people, as many as people are possible from different walks of life, and some agriculture people and some academic background people. Everybody was there actually.
Yeah.
So I able to meet some of them, and then I was not so keen to permaculture at all. But after 1 year, 2 years, this happened to me. Go after my campus, my university life, my student life. I wanted to happen to go one of the NGO where the Venkat is working. That is called a Deccan Development Society. It was in a GDS. There was the Venkat is working with those groups. So he's doing a lot of work in the gardens and food forest and vegetable kitchen gardens and planting trees, and he was talking about various things. So we are living together, but not what the subject exactly I didn't know much about, but we were staying together in my next I was staying next to his room in the morning, having a cup of tea and talking about permaculture. All the time he's in the garden. I think this guy is an old man. What's a mad fellow? He's all the time, instead of sitting under a tree and talking to people, he's talking to the trees. He's going in all the time in the trees, and he's talking about trees and looking at and planting something. I think it's a very crazy, I thought.
Yeah.
So just it's happened to go along with sometimes what's happening in the garden. He was developing a farm where we are working at that time. So he's planted all the permaculture principles, and he's talking about say various things, and he's talking that one day he's left, Venkat has left his cicature on the table. So I have taken that cicature, I went to the plant and I pruning the trees. So
Right.
I didn't know it should not be pruned. I didn't know, but since it is a cicature, that's meant for prune something. So I did all the plants
So
pruned.
we shouldn't give you a pair of secateurs here. You could just start cutting them.
Yeah, exactly. That's what happened. The moment it came and I put there again. The Venkat came back to his that garden. He came asked, who did there's all these cuttings and pruning. And, one person who is working with us, who looks after the farm, he said, Narsanna, cut all these things. So okay, he didn't say anything. Then one the good morning, so I met there having a cup of tea. So Narsanna, you come here. So what's did you ever seen the forest? Any trees have been pruned? I don't know. Forest, first of all, I haven't seen any tree as pruned or not. Why did you ask him, sir, this one? Yesterday you did great mistake. You have taken my signature, you all pruned your coconut trees leaves. Next time if you do it, it's a big sin. Don't do that. In permaculture, pruning is the trees they don't like you are cutting your fingers and your hands. You can't stand properly. If I cut your hands, your fingers, your legs, your hair, it looks very ugly and you can't do your own things. That's how plant also is. Plant life is such, as such. So you should not cut anything. Let it grow in the natural environment. They will take their own shape. They have their own living lifestyle. How to grow, what not to grow, which side, which direction they would like. He's explained about the plants, the characters, the forest, how that is. So like that, so many. Then why this guy is talking about? I didn't understand. What is the tribe? What's the forest? So many trees are there. Why he's asking? So like that, slowly some interaction built, and I started working with him in the garden. We developed a farm where Bill Mollison came, and he has done some lot of the Gangama Mandala. One way of design is the Gangama Mandala is the center. There will be a bowl-shaped pit, and you have to scoop them and put your soil up, and around that you make a compost pit, and you make a pathway around it, and then you make a keyholes around it. Like is an easy way of access to your kitchen garden, and you can use, and it's very efficient.
You have a tree in the middle.
In the middle tree, or just you make it as the center here. Scooped area is for your all the dumping, all the organic waste of your weeds and anything put there, and you become compost, and you need not to go from that Gangama Mandala very far away to get the manure. Just you stand at one point. You can harvest, you can water, you can weed it, you can put there, and you can manure again. Same manure will go back there. I think at one standing point you can do many things. That's the energy conservation way of vegetables. That's one of the model. So that's Gangama Mandala. By the time I have seen it's a good. I think that's how I started involved with the slowly permaculture. What it does. Then we started moving to the communities and growing some vegetables at the backyards, and that is how people are knowing about permaculture world, and then they are very access to the vegetable seeds and eating some vegetables, creepers and greens, so such things. It was in '87. Yeah, I was. That is the only job. Though I was where I'm working at the organization, there are a lot of other activities. But Venkat said, no. You should exclusively, Narsanna will be the coordinator for permaculture activity, no other job. Because if you deviate from your thing, I think it's a hobby thing. No, it has to be focused on a permaculture activity, nothing else. So that is a concentration. Don't involve the others also. He said, don't involve Narsanna in other activities because it is the dilute is concentration. So exclusively for permaculture project, growing food, talking to farmers, women, groups, and vegetable growing, and some seeds, and planting, and design of farmland, and wastelands to be greening. So except these activities should not be taken. So that is what the slogan. So I was working with the bank. So advantage thing was that most of the time working with the women groups. There is a great advantage, and they are the people, those who make success of all these activities. They have capacity to do that because they will take care of your family means they will take care of the plants and what the food requirement around your house. I think they are the producer, they are the managers, and they are the people who will take forward any concept. I think the right people got in right time, and that is how we slowly got into the different people, different communities, different section of the people. I think that is the advantage with us. So at that time, I think we started the work. I think very small when we are going with a small pack with a small seed. If you might open my bag, all boxes with some seeds. If anybody comes and water the seeds, just I used to go their house, so around their house I'm digging and planting something. That is how the movement has started slowly. Just it's now working on the own land, it's our national land. Then next, go to the kitchen gardens. Then slowly we moved on to their small holdings. Then it's community. So there is those steps. The step by step approach to leads to the communities.
Yeah.
So not immediately getting into the people is not possible because our capacities are our very not that extent. And it's very minimal resources. Venkat and myself are the two people, but our strength is the communities. If you do with community, they are the real people to do it, and they will do it for their own, not for somebody. But we will do most of the work for somebody. Somebody means we to show. That's what the model forms on our own forms. But the model is very wrong word to use. It should not be model, it should be functional.
Okay.
Suppose if you are developing a form, it's not to show me. It's a really functional is going on. You are growing something, you are eating them. Not to show this is the herb is for this and that, this is a vegetable for this and that. Not to show people convinced permaculture. It is a functional. It is getting food from here, they can take them and they are using. That is how your system should go in. Otherwise, not for the demonstration as well.
Multiple functions.
Multiple functions. They're able to eat what your body requires. So in India, is growing as a vegetable. We'll call them as a vegetable kitchen garden. Our problem is the fields. Huge tracts of your staple food like your brassica is there.
Yeah.
And your mustard is wild straight ripe, and your wheat. And these are the tracts of land we need in India. We have a not shortage of this, but the people, those who are living in the communities, they need your cereals, pulses, and as in oil seeds, some vegetables. But the vegetables, why we do not grow separately? Because in India, all these crops, along with that crops, some greens will grow. Then you need to grow separately vegetables. Because when you are doing agriculture, when you are doing the crops, along with the crops you will get a lot of weeds. We'll call them as a vegetable almost all. You are then weeds. But in India there is a tropical country, being luckily is a tropical country, there is the advantage of every season has their own weeds and plants.
Everything grows a lot more quickly.
More quickly and more resilient to this thing, and is more nutritious. When they will go for labor, the women, while they are coming back to home, they pick up some greens. They do work, and while they are coming, whatever the unwanted they are saying, the unwanted things they will collect and they will come and back and they will cook and they eat.
So they forage on the way home.
Exactly, home, yeah, exactly. So that is how the advantage. We are not much concentrated in the growing vegetable. Most of the, we are calling them weeds are unwanted. Most of the 90% of the weeds are edible.
Yeah.
And the edible, even whatever the 10% is by not maybe by humans, but it by cattle, because is our part of our life. The cattle rearing in our cultures are part of our life. There will be some buffalo or sheep or goat or your bullocks and oxes, cows. This is part of the goats and sheep. This is a part of our culture.
Are they used for meat or
meat and
milk?
some work? If you come to the cattle, cow is for the cow, have a calf and give it to the multiply their cattle population and as well milk as well. And your cow dung is very expensive nowadays because it's a good source for our fields. And your bullocks for the ploughing, they do work. There is a lot of manure. And buffalo for your dung as well. They give a lot of milk. That is an income generating activity. We'll sell the market, the milk in the market, and we'll get money and feed them. So like that, goat even for meat. Goat and sheep is basically for the meat, and we'll sell it in the market. They'll get a good amount of money. So like that, the animals do as a for money and for your dung, for the manure, and your from work, agriculture work. These 3 levels of work they do. Not simply is only the meat. Because throughout his life is 15 years. Suppose if I have a buffalo, throughout 15 years if you collect, if you put it to the compost, the amount of manure I'm using is 10 times more than the cost of your buffalo. So like that, justice is the way of life is totally different. We'll integrate with the even family means not only agriculture. Agriculture is the plowing land. You have having some animals and you are having some chickens. That is how the life will go on. Not only totally depend on agriculture is not possible because the activities, the allied activities like an animal husbandry and your chickens and your labor and you have to go for wage to get money. You have to do your own feed and staple food. Any excess you have to sell it market. This is how the life of the rural communities will do. They do. So that is how slowly we got it involved with the taking care of not only agriculture, animal integration, and tree-based farming.
Are you able to design the animals into the permaculture system?
Exactly.
So they become
part of your systems.
part of the system.
Otherwise, how I can manage a farm? If you won't have that animal integration in your permaculture systems or any system, it is not sustainable. You have to integrate your animal into it will plow, not plow you feed all the agriculture waste which we are talking. You feed them, they will give your milk as well your consumption for your children as a healthiness, and body requires it. And at the same time it will give manure for the put back to your soil. Again you have to grow them and you have to eat them. This cycle will continue integration of your animal into your farming system.
It's a very sustainable system.
Very sustainable system in the rural community because they look at not only the one aspect, they have to livelihood and some product of it to put back to the soil. That's how you have to create the models and your patterns. You are designed in such a way they should not what you need for farm. You should be able to get them on the farm itself, not from external, not external input to come and everything is coming. Today, what's happening? Agriculture. This is what exactly happening. What's happening? Everything you have to get from outside. Your labor should come outside. Your plowing tractor will come outside. All your fertilizers, everything. So I think how does it sustainable? I think it's not that possible. I think that's how in such environment your ideology will not work. When you are working with the communities, you have to be with, because that is how your nature is. Nature is a mixture of all your animals and trees and plants and edibles, everything. That's how you have to create a farm when you are doing with the community. You have to integrate all these things. Already it is there, you need not to integrate much because you have to protect them. You have to continue that cultures to take forward.
Is it very challenging getting people to think that way?
For me, it is not difficult as such. If I work within different communities, as you said, there is all these have come, but with the indigenous and rural tribal, still not that gone that extent. Still they are in the control of various things what you are talking about. So they are in a moving. If I won't go there, they would have moved in a different direction of going for fertilizers and pesticides and different commercial crops. But I moved, I was gone by the time they are in the right track. I think that's the advantage with the indigenous people and the tribal people. If I would have gone other communities, definitely they have a big problem for me to convince them on different various issues. But there are some people, even the communities and the rural tribal communities, they have gone for commercial crops. They are bringing a lot of synthetic pesticides and fertilizer they are using, and finally they are not able to meet their needs and they are in debt and they are committing suicides and such cases are there. But it's very not that if you compare with the different communities. And there is a big lot families and farmers where they are doing commercial crops and monocrops. There they have a lot of problem, particularly you need a lot of commercial crops needs a lot of requirements like your resources, like your fertilizers, money, water, labor is very intensive. In that case, I think they have to be very, very alternative thinking. I am meeting regularly some people, I talk to them, but I think these days have gone talking people. I think they wanted to see more than the listen, because they're live examples. They're learning by doing, and believing by seeing. Seeing is believing. My first basic fundamental question, you should grow something or else. Otherwise just living, you see every inch of land you brought under cultivation, you are growing something or other. That is make sense of your mother earth will be happy with that. Just don't insult, don't It's a ridiculous leaving the land and they are not without doing anything. It's a just is a keep is a resource to grow something. Not keeping the land is a fallow. That's where you have to your systems. Not even crops. You can grow some trees, which is useful to the community as well and some your environment. If you are not using, that is a nothing but is a insulting the resource. That I think that relationship should not be continued. We have to break somewhere by doing some activity over that land. What type of agriculture later comes? But that is a understanding with who. Then we have to slowly community get in. Already they have practices. Some of them taken wrong. That's what in the tribal community I was doing that. They don't have. They are living in the forest, but they think that always we are living in the forest. Why should we grow the trees? Only I want is 1 hectare of wheat or some sorghum, some millet. I don't want any trees on my garden because it provides a lot of shade. Trees means they think is a huge trees. No, you have to the perennials must have in your farmland. Otherwise, without perennials, if you go only annuals, I think that do not thrive well and they are not happy. They may give some production, but they are not happy. We don't know the language of trees. What it says, they don't have to speak. But we try to understand the language of plants even. What they say, whether they are happy or not. By seeing the healthiness and their bosom and very happy, if you get into the forest, in the garden, they're all nicely, they are very happy. If you look at, just you stay for 15 minutes or 10 minutes or 5 minutes, I think they're looking very happy because you are with them. Somebody is there, know that somebody is taking care of me. So that is a relationship, the plant and human, but more than that has to continue. If that is not relationship, I think we are more than cooperating, more than taking protection and protecting them, we are destructing the most of the practices. And we are disastrous way of approaches we have taken in the human activities. I think that is we have to stop. We have to work with the cooperation with the nature, not against. That's what our nature law says about it. That's the permaculture says about it. That is how my communities are moving ahead and they are doing better job. Let us see how the tree-based farming will lead to there's some livelihood, some subsistence and some sustainable way of farming systems of their own land. They will be able to get some food as well as some fruits and some perennial cropping system. They ensure their food security. Anywhere if it goes, I say the only thing. You try to understand the earth, what it meant for. You try to understand the nature. Nature means you include, it includes everything. The word is just what is our education, our book says about nature is something, nothing is somewhere else. This way we are living in the nature. How best you can use that resources and you grow your own food. What way you are growing is later. But you have to grow your own food and it's living with the communities and in a better way rather than doing all your ways of life is uncertainty. That should not be in your life. There is a certain things which I can do for my own, to my food, and I can help the farmers in those who are doing gardening in your context. I think is the farmer in my India, but you will talk as your neighbor. What is that doing? The relationship you maintain and you grow your own food and you try to help others and this nature will accept it. Otherwise, I think we are more than the taking resources, we are not giving back to anything in nature. So that's what the villagers or your town and urban, semi-urban or rural communities, I think that is what they have to do. Particularly UK people, as I think they have resources, they can do better things, not directly, indirectly, they can help some communities where they are doing, like these community gardens, they have to help them to grow more food, since they are not able to practice participate in the food production, they can support the communities, that is how they are able to get healthy food, or healthy thinking, healthy people. That's how the societies will build up.
What is personally your favourite permaculture principle?
Okay, among all these things?
Among all the
permaculture principles?
Principles.
Okay, the tree-based farming I like it. Perennials. In the nature it is there. but you are losing the perennial way of life, because not only is a linked up with your soils and environment, because the trees, the perennials have a lot of advantage with the gardening you're in fields, because they are the species which they look after your soil health and your environment and your microclimates. They will create more your natural predators, and they are the hosting your all these your elements into your farming system. Within the trees, within the herbs, within the shrubs, you maximize the. Even if I take a herb, I think you have a plenty of. Not only one herb I can have enough. No, it's not like that. Within the herbs there are number of species.
Hundreds of
Diversity is required. If you take, if I grow a tree, the tree is not one. Hundreds of varieties are there. You grow them because one varieties doesn't work. And you take a cereals, not one cereal. You grow as many as cereals are possible. And again, they need a diversity. As your food you are taking, you are not only eating your food, rice or sorghum or your bread, your wheat. You are adding so many things into it. Then only your feeling is taste, and you are eating more, and you are keeping your health is better. So like is your environment where you are living, that has to be diversified, as not in a solo or is a mono way of approach. It doesn't work. I like that the way of
Great.
practice of permaculture.
Wonderful.
Diversity in life. Yeah.
All right.
Good.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.